What does motivation mean to you, and why personally I feel this whole concept of motivation is total BS. It's crap and it doesn't work. That motivation is something that will fire the engine, but discipline is something that will keep you going when you're out of gas. Hello everyone, my name is Hira Saeed and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's video, we are going to have a conversation about a topic that I've been thinking a lot about lately. And this is the topic that I feel I have had enough discussions with myself to be able to sit here and give you this advice. So if you've been following me on social media and maybe if you've met in person, you know that I have the type of personality where I like to solve things. I see a problem and then in my mind there is like a trail of thought where I start thinking about how can I solve that problem. And this habit basically led me start multiple projects over the years. Some of them I personally outgrew, some of them I didn't realize that they would take so much time and effort, and then I stopped them in the middle. So when I am sitting here discussing this topic that we're going to discuss today, it is coming from a very, very personal perspective. So the advice or the conversation that I want to have today on this channel is about motivation. What does motivation mean to you, and why personally I feel this whole concept of motivation is total BS. It's crap and it doesn't work. So before we start discussing why I feel motivation doesn't work, let me take you back to my own personal journey. In 2016, I was very fascinated by the idea of starting a YouTube channel. I was working really hard into following multiple creators. I wanted to start my own channel, and I sat down and I wrote, I think 6-7 scripts in 3 days. And I recorded one video as well. But I think within 2 to 3 weeks of going through this entire process, I realized that I just don't want to do it. I just don't feel excited about it anymore. And then I just found myself taking interest in something else. And that's how my YouTube channel basically never got started at all. But then I think last year during COVID, when I actually started making videos on YouTube and I published my first video, that's when I started having this discussion with myself that in year 2016, when I was planning to start my YouTube channel, I was just fascinated by the idea of having a YouTube channel. I was fascinated with the end result of how it would feel like when I have a really successful YouTube channel. The one thing that I was lacking throughout those years was the process, was the discipline to stick to one thing, was the discipline to decide that if I want to start my YouTube channel, that's what I have to do. So in short, I had no process, I had no time management skills. I lacked so much more than those creators who were successful on YouTube, and I was just motivated to start my channel. And motivation alone doesn't do anything. So when a few months ago, I sat down again with myself and gave myself a pep talk that if you really want to start your YouTube channel, or if you want to be really consistent with creating content on social media, then what's actually stopping you? And that's when I started having this debate with myself that each and every one of us, whenever we see a very good motivational video on YouTube, or maybe when we hear some TED Talks and get really inspired by people, what we do is the next day we feel so pumped up to start something that we just go ahead and start it. And then after 2 months, 3 months, when life happens, you just stop doing it. This is the cycle of motivation. It starts with I want to do an XYZ task versus what do I have to do XYZ task. And this is the discussion that I want to have. If you are motivated to do something, you will keep on thinking about the reward that you will get after you finish a certain task. But when you're disciplined to do something, what you do is you start focusing on the process. You start focusing on the journey. You exclude the reward out of that journey, because now that's basically becoming a habit. That's basically becoming something that's a part of your lifestyle. That's a part of who you are. Another thing about motivation is it's all your internal reasoning you give to yourself. It's all about what I will get if I do this, what I will get if I do this. And when it comes to discipline is all about what type of steps do I need to take in order to get this? What type of habits do I have to build in order to get this? And this is why when you see that when a lot of people are motivated to do something, after a certain while, when they hit a speed bump, they just stop doing it. So if you are on your fitness journey, the moment you stop losing weight, you just feel demotivated. If you are on the job hunt, the moment you realize that nobody is getting back to me and I'm not getting any interview calls, you just stop applying for jobs. So your internal reasoning at some point stops, and that's when the whole facade of motivation falls apart. People are really motivated one day, and then the next day they realize that they don't want to do that thing. But at that time, what keeps you going is discipline. Discipline in the form of systems, discipline in the form of processes, discipline in the form of structure that you're trying to build that is not attached to any reward. That is just because you know this thing is right for you. You know this is something that you want to do. You know this thing is backed by logic, and this is something that you should. I was reading like a really interesting article on Medium, and author said that motivation is something that will fire the engine, but discipline is something that will keep you going when you're out of gas. I also wanted to include some tips in this video that I have been following personally, and I think will help you a lot if you are getting on the journey of becoming more disciplined. The tip number one would be focus on building really small habits. So for example, if you are going to start your fitness journey 2022, the goal should not be that on the first day I'm supposed to like burn 600 calories. The goal should be that I have to become consistent into going to the gym. So number two is one of my favorites, and it helps me a lot, which is if this is motivation and if this is discipline. So there are a number of hard days in the middle when you're very motivated to do something, and obviously when motivation starts falling apart, you're basically transitioning into to a habit of discipline. And at that time, there will be a lot of hard days. There will be days where you won't feel like doing anything, and that's when you have to know that you are basically now transitioning. You're basically now falling into the trap of demotivation. So now you just have to push through it. Now you have to keep doing what you're doing, and over the period of time you'll realize that now you have come to the point B, which is the discipline. Number third tip I want to share is don't get bogged down by big audacious goals. I know that there's like a whole sort of like reasoning behind it that you need to have XYZ amount of goals in your life if you want to be successful. But my point of view with all these long-term planning that we do is sometimes all those big hairy audacious goals, what they do is they kind of like bring this fog in your eyes that you lose the momentum of today. You lose what you need to do today as a small step to be able to reach that big goal. And that's why you find yourself like doing 90% of your work one day before the deadline, because you have this big goal chasing you, a big goal staring in your eye that you have to do this. So instead of writing 100 words every day, you're basically writing 9,000 words a day before the submission. Number four tip that I wanted to include in this video is focus on processes, rituals, and like structures. So for example, if in the year 2022, one of your goals is to hit $100,000 in revenues. So what would be the process that would take you there? Would you just keep telling this to your team that we need to hit 100,000, we need to hit 100,000? Or will you sit down with them and actually discuss that if we want to hit 100,000 in revenues by 2020, are we chasing 10 clients who will reach there? Or are we just landing one big client? So our efforts or our focus should be on that one big client that will bring us to $100,000 in revenue. So when you focus on processes, when you focus on structure, that's where in the end it will turn into a habit. It will turn into something, a more disciplined structure, instead of you just waking up one day and realizing that I'm very motivated to do XYZ thing. I guess that's it from today's video. I just wanted to have this discussion with you all. If you all agree to this concept or have been thinking about the same thing, feel free to like comment below and share your journeys with me. In the end, as a final thought, I just want to share that having discipline and having structure in your life is the freedom we all should be chasing. I know this world is full of activities that give us obviously very quick dopamine, and dopamine in some extent is really good. But what keeps you going and what brings you long-term success in your life is having discipline in your life, is having structure in your life. So, and you are not going to get there in a day, you're not going to get there in like 2 weeks, but you'll eventually going to get there if you start today and start making small efforts throughout your life. So thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, hit that red subscribe button, press the like button, so the algorithm knows that it is something useful for everybody else. So thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye bye.